Hi, this is Snaily Snail. So today I thought I would talk about my favorite dim sum dishes. I only know them in their Cantonese names because most of the workers only speak Cantonese. I have only eaten dim sum maybe once a year, and I think around college. That's when I started just going by myself. And also I don't read traditional Chinese, so it is a little bit hard for me, but once in a while I'm like, oh yeah, it's like the same character that shows up. I'm like, yep, it's shrimp, it's meat. So today I thought I would just like go over the ones I like, go over the ones I don't like. Let me also preface this by saying that I don't speak Cantonese fluently. I am guessing most of the time. I have a dim sum app that will tell me how to say it, and I'm just going to have a picture on this side. Someone already did a video where they press play on every single dish on this app, so I'm not going to do it, but I'll link it down below if you're interested. So first off, when you sit down, usually they ask you what kind of tea you want, and for me it usually depends on who I'm eating with or their health conditions, so that's how I decide what tea we usually drink. We usually order Hong Cha. Hong Cha is more like if you have heart problems. That's just what I've heard, okay? So that's why we get it. And also if I'm eating with old people, usually they are at risk for heart disease, so that's why we get that. I like Guk Fa Cha because it doesn't have caffeine, and it's just nice seeing like little flowers float in there. And I think white tea is a little bit too light for me. And now we're going to get to like what I order. So I usually get ha gao, which is the shrimp dumplings. They're so good. It's very basic. My next favorite is za ha gun, which is fried shrimp rolls. They're like really teeny tiny. They're smaller than the regular rolls. They don't serve it at most places. I guess so sad. Like I've only seen it at Taiyun, and that's it, which is Empire Garden in Boston's Chinatown. Next is siu mai, and this is the only thing with mushrooms that I enjoy eating. This stems from a childhood fear that I have. They showed me an episode of Yan, which is Ultraman, and in this episode, Ultraman fought off this crazy mushroom guy who was turning the whole town into mushroom people by contaminating the water. And ever since, I was just like, I am not going to become a mushroom person. At least with siu mai, you can't really see the mushrooms. It's really minced. So yeah, like you taste it a little bit, but I'm just like, okay, it's fine. The next thing I get is churong fan. I love the sweet soy sauce this stuff comes with. And I think churong fan is the generic, like all-encompassing term for just like the rice rolls. I prefer ha churong over ngao churong because I've seen sometimes with ngao churong, you don't know what they're grinding up in the beef. And some people, they might chip their tooth on that stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna stick to ha churong. And a cousin of the churong fan is the za leung. I love it, especially, you know, sweet soy sauce again. And it's like a yao tiu inside of the churong fan, so I'm okay with that. But I don't like it if it's been sitting out and then it doesn't have the crispiness. So it really depends on what time of day you're ordering this. I usually get 2 plates of feng zao because your girl needs collagen. I look the oldest out of all my friends, so I need to, you know, turn back the aging clock. And it's just one of those dishes where you really have to take your time with it to get all the collagen and the goodness out. And oh, I just love the sauce that they use with this stuff. Oh, so good. The next one, I've only seen this at a buffet once, and it's za hai kim. They lay it all out, and then they have the little like pincers, or they have it with the shrimp tails, but I don't think it would be called hai kim because hai kim means crab claw. The next one I order is dan tat, which is a classic. It's just, you know, the egg tart. But I've been to Portugal and I've ordered a Portuguese version. I think in Chinese you call it po tat. They sear the top or something, so it looks like creme brulee. This is one of the only things the whale will eat at a dim sum place, so most of the time it's just me stuffing my mouth. I probably eat about $60 worth of dim sum by myself. So this is why I usually go with a small group, because I know I'm going to be eating a lot. Okay, let's move on to Boughs. So I usually don't order Boughs because I feel like if you're going to get it, I'd rather get it from a Chinese bakery. They usually come in sets of 3, and because it's just me and someone else usually eating it, I don't find it worth it to order it. So that's why I usually don't go for it. Usually we get nai wang bao, which is the custard bun, and then we get Bao, which is red bean bun. I love my red bean paste. And then of course char siu bao. One time I went to a restaurant with this grandpa. I have no idea who he was, but I think I was with my grandma, and it was just one of her friends. And the man, he took the Boughs and he squished it and then put it in his pocket. I was just like, what is going on? And people were asking him, like, doesn't it get stale if it's just sitting in your pocket? And he's like, save it for later. Okay. Then you also have, you know, the regular mantao, which it's okay with condensed milk, but I don't think they give that during dim sum. And a couple more things that I order is lo mai gai, which is sticky rice wrapped in lotus leaf, and then they put all sorts of ingredients. I kind of like pick my way around the mushroom, and I don't think they put egg yolk in it, but if they do, I'm judging them. I don't like egg yolk. So that's why I usually go by myself, so that way I can pick out the stuff that I like and not inconvenience others. The next thing I really like is jindoi, which are sesame balls. So this one is just the plain one, there's nothing inside, but if you want something inside, you can get lingyong jindoi, which is the lotus paste. It's so good. I think that's like the traditional one that you'll get at a bakery, and then they also have dosa jindoi, which is the red bean paste. Also love it. Have you seen a mung bean one? I also get wall-teep, which are pot stickers. I just love the crispy skin on dumplings. So good. So back in the day when I was trying to cook for myself, I would just get dumpling wrappers. They come in a pack of, I don't know, 50 or something, and I would just fry them and then cover them in sugar and cinnamon. I saw this from a Korean show where the guy, he did this during his college dorm days. It's super cheap and it tastes kind of like churro-y. I will try to find the link for it and like put it in the card somewhere. Okay, so if you couldn't tell, I really like shrimp. I think I've eaten this like once or twice, which is the gumsi bak fa kao, and it's like a ball of shrimp on the inside, and they fry it with all these little strips of, I don't know, dough or something, and it's just so good. And then the last thing I usually get is scallion pancakes, which is bang. This isn't always on the menu, so it's just like if it's on the menu, and then you usually have a dipping sauce. So good. Yeah, or you can just eat it plain. It really depends on how the restaurant makes it, because sometimes, you know, it's like a little bit too tough. That's when I need the sauce. Next, I have like the maybe category, which is stuff that I would probably eat, but I wouldn't know. So the first one is sinjokgun. So it's bamboo shoots wrapped inside tofu, and it's fried. And I think it does taste good. It's just sometimes, I don't know, like the crunch isn't there from the bamboo shoots, then I'm like, eh. The next one is hayeongyong tofu. It's shrimp inside tofu, and then it's fried. So I've only had this like once or twice. I think I would eat it. It probably just isn't the best bang for my buck personally. And my last maybe is xiulongbao. So I have never had xiulongbao in my life. I really don't think I've had it, because it's either out or my parents were like, you're not gonna like it. Even though I really like dumplings. So I'm like, what do you mean I'm not gonna like it? So one day if I actually have it, I'll let you know how I like it. My next category is just stuff I would not order. And that's lobako, which is the turnip cake. And then there's also wu tao go, which I don't like either. I just don't like all the goes. Personally, I don't like any goes because it's like this pasty thing. I think especially in lobako, sometimes they put the tiny dried shrimp. I hate that. Another category that I don't order is vegetables. So anything like houyao gailan, which is like the Chinese broccoli with oyster sauce. If you're ordering that, I'm sorry. You could make that yourself for $2. You don't actually have to go out and order it. And then there's xunyong bak choy, which it can kind of get a pass, but I'm still judging you because it's bok choy with garlic. It tastes good, I'll give you that, but I'm not trying to eat vegetables when I'm going out for dim sum like my 3 times a year, you know? And another vegetable thing I don't get is eggplant. So yoreongkaeti, I don't like it. It's stuffed eggplant. Not for me. Let's just like go over some other stuff that I don't get. Yudan literally means fish eggs, but it's not fish eggs. They're fish meatballs. Paikuat, I don't like it personally because, okay, it's not that I don't like paikuat. It's like I like it a certain way, but every single time I go to the restaurants, you don't know what the quality is gonna be like, so I'd rather not risk it, so I just don't order it. There's also Paigwat Fan, which is okay. Like, it really depends. Like, for me, if there's not enough sauce, I'm out. Another thing I don't order is gun, especially things like bean sprouts, like when you're biting into it and it just like pulls out and you're like stuck with all these. Yeah, no. And the last two I definitely don't order is gao soi gao and ham soi gao. Those just aren't my favorite. Sometimes I think the chives or leek is a little bit too overwhelming, so that's why I don't get it. And then at the end, it's dessert time. So I get tofu fa, I get 2 bowls. It's tofu pudding and then you have the syrup with the ginger, and that's how I like it. So sometimes I'll just go to the Asian market, pick out like the big can of tofu and make it myself. If I don't really like the dessert options, usually I just go for bubble tea at the end. So that's usually what I eat at dim sum. If you disagree with any of my opinions, they're just my opinions. It's not that deep. So these days I've just been ordering it and I just eat it myself. And usually the whale will order something from the entree menu that's not dim sum related. So if you're in Boston, I think you should try Winsor Dim Sum Cafe because they have pictures on their menu. So when you're ordering, you know exactly what you're ordering. It's not that hard. And they have numbers next to them so you can sort of align them. But with the cart pushing ladies, those are a little bit harder because they're always screaming, so usually I just like call them over. If I'm with my Mandarin speaking friends, it's okay because they come over and they lift up the lids for most of them and show us. I think most of my friends go to Quincy, Massachusetts whenever they have to eat dim sum now because they have better dim sum restaurants. I will also leave a link to the app store for the app that I use to learn all these dishes names because yes, they're really hard. It's on the tip of your tongue and you just can't remember it. I hope this video was helpful and I will see you next week. Bye! I don't know which side it is, so I'm just gonna go like this side.